Hello and welcome back to Bison Overtime. I'm Malik Mitchell.
And I'm Dash Mentzel.
We got a boatload of sports to cover today, so you don't want to miss this. So, starting with football as usual, this past Saturday they played Indiana State in the Fargo Dome and won 44-2. Again, I didn't get my prediction, but I do notice what I do get right. I get right whether it's going to be a blowout or a close game.
I was very close to my shutout. It was that safety we gave up at the end that kind of cost that for me.
Yep. So to start off, we had a good kick return to start the first quarter. You know, those guys seemed pretty hyped, way more hyped than previous game against Missouri State. With that momentum, we had a big pass, 53-yard pass from Cam Miller to George Babbitts to put us in the red zone.
And it was great to see Babbage get some receptions in this game. We haven't really heard about him much this entire season. It's mostly been Giddendorf at the tight end position receiving passes. So it's good to see Babbage get a few receptions.
Yup, and then a few plays later, he end up being wide open for a 3-yard touchdown.
And then the defense struck right after that. 2 plays into the next drive, a fumble there on a little trick play attempt by Indiana State, recovered by Logan McCormick. Bison did not score a touchdown off that, but they did get a Ryan Holtz field goal to go up 10-0. Then next drive, Tameric Williams, he gets a run into the end zone from 20 yards, breaking a tackle along the way.
And then 5 minutes into the second quarter, Kobe Johnson scores a 97-yard rushing touchdown. He now holds the record from the longest run from scrimmage in NDSU's history.
And there's been a lot of football in NDSU's history, so that's a hard record to beat.
Then on the next offensive drive, Kobe Johnson gets another big run, rushing for 49 yards. Then Cam Miller finishes the drive with an 8-yard passing touchdown to Christopher Watson to end the half, 30-0.
Then in the second half, a little pass over the Hunter Lubke, get that, and then an interception by Marquise Siegel, the redshirt freshman. He gets himself in the stat book with an interception, and there's been a lot of turnovers for this defense this year.
And then on the next drive, freshman Cole Payton gets an 18-yard rushing touchdown. It's his second rushing touchdown of the season, and that was our last score of the game. Indiana had a block punt for a safety to end the game with 44-2. I think Cam Miller looked good this game. He completed 10 passes out of 14, but that we also need to talk about how, they're limiting the playbook for Quincy Patterson because, Cam Miller ran a buttload of plays that we've never seen Quincy run. They say he's smart. They say he's always in a facility learning, picking up new things, but he's not running the same plays as Cam was running in the Indiana State game.
So that really just confuses me then, and it kind of arouses my suspicion of the fact that maybe the offense just isn't letting him run those plays, which is confusing to, why aren't we letting him run those kind of plays? Because if they say he has the smarts, if he has the talent, and we've seen he has the ability to run different plays, so why don't we let him run those kind of plays? It just kind of boggles my mind why we don't do that.
Yeah, but on the flip side, you could say that, the coaches are calling plays for Quincy that cater to his game, like those QB runs to get us in because, most of our scores when he was playing, was those QB runs, those jet sweeps,
But towards the end, the last few weeks when he was our starting quarterback, we ran a lot of the same plays over and over again, and defense are starting to read on that. You can't run the same plays over and over again, even if they cater to his strengths. You have to open up the playbook a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Now, switching gears to the run game, right? It seems like Kobe Johnson is taking a much bigger role in the run game, these past few games. Before it was Dom Ganella in the beginning, and now it just seems like it's Kobe Johnson's time, He's, in the past couple of games, he's been leading the running backs in rushing yards.
Yeah, and it hasn't been impressive these last few weeks for running backs. He's been the leading rusher for running backs these last few weeks with only like 40, 30, or even 20 yards of rushing in a game. But this week, he blew the doors open on that. He only had 5 rushes, but he made the best of them. He had the 97-yarder. He had the one that went for about 60. So he's been making the most out of these runs this week, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come for this rushing offense.
And like you said, he only had 5 touches. You have to make the most out of your opportunity because I felt like when it was Dom Ganella's, shining, he really didn't get that much touches. And along with that, Jalen Bussey, we're seeing less and less of him. How do you think they're going to work in Jalen Bussey in the future of the remaining games?
And it's kind of a wonder how we're going to rush him or put him in. And it seems like he's a situational back where we need to get plays to the outside or quick plays where he can get to the outside and run downfield. But even when he's been in these last few weeks, we haven't been running those with him. It's mostly been in garbage time, and it's been runs right up the middle, which is not his strong suit. He's not a guy who can break tackles up the middle. He needs to get runs to the outside. And it's kind of the same thing with Dom Ganella, too. You have to wonder why he's been getting less yards, because it seems like he was the feature back at the beginning of the season. And we talked about it before the show. Maybe it's lingering injuries because, he had one against Towson He had a lingering injury that you could tell was bothering him, and it looks like it popped back up again against Illinois State. So you have to wonder maybe that's why he's not getting as many carries anymore.
Right, and I remember in the Indiana State game we were talking because I think Jalen Bussey had a couple carries, and all of them were up the middle. Like, he's not that type of back. Those screen plays will give him good yardage. Those sweep plays will get him, and also with Dom Ganella, it seemed like they would just give him one attempt and take him right back out. And he won't come into like the next 2 drives. I think they're just taking a light on him. I think there is some injuries that are lingering, but hopefully, those 2 guys, we can see more of those 2 guys because I feel like they will give us those yardage and get the run game back on track.
Yeah, it seems like we have 2 feature backs right now. It's Kobe Johnson taking most of the snaps, but we also have Tameric Williams taking the majority of those snaps as well, and he's been getting a lot more rushes these last few weeks.
Right, yeah, he's been getting more involved. We can talk about Tameric. Tameric is like a strength back, but he's, and I always say, like, he's one of, like, his previous runs, it's always the last man gets him. He could have had that 97 rushing yard touchdown in the previous games, but he always got tackled by the last guy by a foot tackle.
We saw on that one touchdown that he had, that 20-yarder. He busted through a tackle on that one play there. So, I mean, he kind of always took me as a Jerome Bettis type, a kind of bowling ball running back who he's not exactly known for breaking plays away, but he can rush through that first tackle. And, junior transfer out of SMU, he wanted to come here, and he's been making the most out of it so far.
Right, he has, because in the beginning, like you said, he wasn't even really in the mix, to be honest. It would be Dom Ganella and then Kobe Johnson and Jalen Bussey, and then he would come in, on those power plays. Now he's one of the top of the list. How do you feel that playing into, do you think his success is doing good because the teams that we're playing against are not really looking out for him and don't really know what he's capable of?
I feel like this kind of offense caters to his kind of running style. You got the big lineman and you got the run it right up the middle kind of mentality. So I feel like that kind of caters to his strengths. I feel like that's why he's doing so well here.
Yep. So let's talk about freshman quarterback Cole Payton, right? So there's some talk in the air that he's a pretty good quarterback, right? And we've seen him run, he has good size, but we just haven't seen his arm yet, and that's a big dynamic when it comes to the quarterback at the next level.
It makes sense that we haven't seen his arm yet. He's only a freshman, so, I mean, naturally he's only going to come in during garbage time. He's the 3rd stringer, so we're not going to see too much passing. We're not going to risk, him passing too much. But what we have seen, he has a lot of mobility. He's been running read options. He got another touchdown off of one of those again this week. And he's been very good scrambling and getting out of the pocket. So, I mean, that is a very awesome positive to see out of a freshman, to have that kind of mobility this early.
Yeah, I heard through the grapevine, his background story is that, like, as soon as he committed to NDSU, Nebraska offered him, and they called him like, no, I'm going to NDSU, which is pretty crazy, the loyalty he has for NDSU. I think, it will pay off, either next year. I think he'll get way more reps next year, and to me, like, the reps he had against Indiana State, he looks like he can be a future prospect for this team. So on offense, we had a total of 185 passing yards for 3 touchdowns. On the ground, we had a total of 296 yards for 3 touchdowns. What were some individual stats of that game?
So the leaders in rushing, Kobe Johnson obviously had the lead in rushing. 5 rushes for 155 yards and a TD. Tameric Williams was second most, 4 rushes for 29 yards and a TD. And Cole Payton had the 3rd most with 4 rushes for 28 yards and a TD. So all 3 of them getting touchdowns.
Yep.
And then in the receiving category, Josh Babich led the way with 2 receptions for 58 yards and a TD. Noah Gindorf had 1 reception for 43 yards. And then Phoenix Sproles had 2 receptions for 34 yards as well.
Yep, and on the defensive side, the dogs up front got 4 sacks, and, our defensive backs got 1 interception. And like you said, the rest are freshmen. We got some new guys coming in. That's the thing about the the fly game. We still, Dawson Weber came back, from the ejection. No, not the ejection, but the targeting hit,
yep.
Right? So we saw a little bit of him in the second half of the game, which is pretty good. That was a controversial call too. But like I said, our defensive line is just tough. And it's like we said in the previous episode, just more than one guy can get those sacks. We saw it this year. What were some individual stats?
So leading the way for tackles was Michael Tutsi with 8. Jasir Cox had second with 7, and then Jackson Hankey had 6. And like you said, we had 4 sacks on the defense. Those were caused by Javier Derritt, Jake Cava, Bartholomew Agbu, and then both of the Mostrar twins, Will and Eli. And the funny thing is about the sacks on those, Derritt, Cava, and Agbu, they're all backups, and they are getting quality sacks. So it seems like, the depth on our D-line is insane.
Yep, and then offensive lineman Corduro Volson was named Missouri Valley Football Conference Offensive Lineman of the Week again. This is his third just this season and fourth in his career. You know, he's balling out.
He was named to the Reese's Senior Bowl watch list at the before the season started, and it's showing because every week he's getting these awards, and you know it's very obvious at this point that he's going to be playing Sunday football next year.
Yep. So we are now 8-0. Their next game is tomorrow at 2 p.m. against South Dakota State University in Brookings 2. You know, for the Dakota marker. Last year they won it 27-17. You know, right now they're currently 6-2. They lost to Northern Iowa though in Southern Illinois. Now we played Northern Iowa. We beat them. It was a close game in the beginning, but we still got the win. You know, I'm thinking it's going to be a tough game. You know, but I still think we can pull it away.
It's gonna be very tough. I feel like Pierre Strong's gonna be our toughest, opponent for our defense yet. He's one of the best running backs in the FCS. I feel like though we have a bit of an advantage because the best part of our defense is our run defense. No team has been able to run the ball on us very much except for maybe Missouri State. But other than them, nobody's been able to run the ball on us. So I think it's going to be a hard-fought matchup, but I do believe NDSU is going to pull out the victory very late, 17-14.
Man, I'm thinking 27-20 us. That's what I'm thinking because we can get those scores. You know, last game proved we can get those scores, and our defense, you know, with good teams we do get scored on. You know, even though we're good, we're still gonna, you know, get those scores. You know,
I mean, we're not invincible, that's for sure. So we have to make sure we get scores on offense because I'm not sure if our defense is gonna be able to hold them to a shutout this week.
Yep. So be sure to tune in to that game this Saturday. But when we come back, we have a special guest from the basketball team. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.
There are so many great things to experience at NDSU. It's hard to pick one, but my favorite is
the people. They make it such a warm place. The Bison aren't just across the country, they're across the globe.
It's the perfect distance from home. The faculty are our biggest cheerleaders. Hands-on research experience. The affordable tuition.
All the opportunities to stay active on campus.
Real-world learning experiences.
once I got on campus, it felt like home.
The NDSU bookstore has everything you need to show off your Bison pride. The bookstore can have you sporting green and gold wherever you go. It offers many different brands, sizes, styles, and selection so that you find exactly what you're looking for. Shop the NDSU bookstore and show your spirit today.
No kid deserves to go hungry, but try as they might, not every family can afford to put food on the table every day. That's why the Great Plains Food Bank and their partner agencies work every day to bring food to our hungry neighbors. Every dollar donated can provide 4 meals for those in need. Go to greatplainsfoodbank.org and donate today, so no kid in North Dakota ever has to go hungry.
There are so many great things to experience at NDSU. It's hard to pick one, but my favorite is
the people. They make it such a warm place. The Bison aren't just across the country, they're across the globe.
It's the perfect distance from home. The faculty are our biggest cheerleaders. Hands-on research experience. The affordable tuition.
All the opportunities to stay active on campus.
Real-world learning experiences.
once I got on campus, it felt like home.
Welcome back. We are here with point guard Bowden Skunberg from the basketball team. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, so let's go back a little minute. So last season at the Summer League Championship, you guys went to your guys' 7th championship game in just the past 9 seasons. In the beginning of the game, you guys were down 25 points just at the halftime, but in the final minute, you guys managed to come back, but you guys lost due to those crucial free throws, in the last seconds of the game. Walk us through the last moments of those games.
I mean, first of all, coming back from that big deficit, we just had no energy. We weren't talking, but yeah, it came down to the final buckets. But they had really good players and they made plays, but they did their thing. But we're coming back this year for hopefully a championship.
So the season didn't exactly end the way you guys wanted it to with that loss to Oral Roberts last season. So what is the biggest problem for your team last season? If you guys had any issues last season?
Honestly, I think we had a lot of new guys coming on the team, and this year, we have a lot of experience, a lot of returners. So I think we got a big chance to win it again this year. So.
So in this season's Summer League preseason coaches poll, you guys made it on the second on the list with South Dakota State ranking #1 and Oral Roberts right below you guys. Does that ranking make you feel at ease regarding how you guys played last season, or are you hungry for that #1 spot?
We try not to look at those polls because, you know, we know what we're capable of. We think we should be one every year, but, you know, we're just as, it doesn't really affect us either way. We're just as confident coming in.
Well, this next question is going to be a little awkward then. The team ranks in the collegeinsider.com top 25 for mid-major teams at 25th. You guys agree with those rankings that you should be up there with the other mid-majors?
I mean, like I said, we don't really pay attention to that stuff, but it's cool being top 25. I think we should be higher. Just knowing, you know, we're confident in ourselves.
Yeah, being that you guys made it to the Summer League tournament last season, made it all the way to the championship, but got that, you know, unfortunate loss. Does that create any pressure for this season to make it to the tournament again, but win it this time around?
No, we have that experience under our belt coming in from last season, so, you know, we don't really feel any pressure, but we just look at each game, and we say take one game at a time, and, you know, we do our thing.
So most of the players are returning from last season, and this was a team who made it all the way to the conference championship. Is there any room for improvement this season as compared to last year?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of new guys this year, so there definitely is room for improvement, and you know we're still giving them experience. We got some good freshmen coming in and good transfers, so we're definitely gonna get a lot better as the season goes on.
Yeah, last season you guys had some tough, remarkable battles with teams like Oral Roberts and USD and even rival UND. What are some of the teams you guys are looking out for this season?
I mean, we're looking at every team the same. Like, we're coming out, we're playing our best each game. We're giving each team 100%, and we're just gonna try and win every game we can.
March Madness is obviously a big deal to every college basketball player in the country, and the Bison have qualified a few times in the past decade. So, is this a team that can get back to the big dance this year?
Oh, 100%. We have 100% confidence in ourselves that we're gonna be back there playing the March Madness tournament. So.
Yeah, you had a foot injury last season that caused you to sit out a couple of games. You know, what did that injury do for you going into this season? Did it fuel you more? Did it feel like you had something to prove?
Oh yeah, that was took a big toll on me, but you know, my teammate helped me push back, and you know, I feel like coming in this year, I'm really excited and a lot more ready to play.
So yeah, that injury took away, unfortunately, a lot of your season last year, but are you excited to be able to be back on the court with your teammates this season?
Oh yeah, no doubt, without a doubt. We've been waiting for a lot of months to be out here playing on the court again.
So I see you guys lost some guys, but you guys also gained a couple key guys like Willie Guy and Andrew Kalman, you know, who played a good amount of this past game. So what do those guys bring to the team that you guys lacked or didn't have as much last season?
Well, first of all, like Andrew Kalman, he's got a lot of experience. I think this is his fifth year here, or fifth year playing college. Yep. So he just brings us that experience, and he's just like he's a guy that we can all like look up to on the team. And Willie's like a point guard. We can really look to him to like control the game, slow the game down, and just all these new guys, like they got something they can bring to the game. And all these new freshmen, they'll be able to control a lot, or they'll be able to like contribute a lot in the game.
So every college athlete has a way of getting themselves mentally prepared for a game. So how do you get yourself ready for any basketball game?
Nah, I mean, I just be listening to music, and I just be like joking around all my teammates before the game, just, you know, trying to stay loose and just, you know, just get ready to play our game.
So you guys returned some key pieces from last season, like Rocky Cruiser, Sam Griesel, and Tyree Edey. You know, how does that leadership this season compare from last season? Like you said, you guys have more experience even with you, and you're still an underclassman. How does the leadership differ from last season to this team's this season?
I mean, like, even our captains, like Rocky, Tyree, Sam, they had experience, but, like, even more experience coming in this year, and that's going to be huge, helping out all the younger guys, and hopefully that carries over to, like, next year when they're gone, and, you know, we can take over and really just keep things rolling.
You guys had an exhibition game this past Monday and won 85-54, 31 points. You know, that's a lot. What did that exhibition game tell you about the team this year?
I mean, obviously it was a D2 non-conference game, but you know, it tells us like that we can play. You know, we're ready to play, and we have told us a lot. We have a lot of learning to do still with our younger guys, but we know we're excited for the season.
So being that the starters last season didn't really leave, you guys still have the other guys like Jarius Cook, Malik Harden-Hayes, and Grant Nelson. You know, has the chemistry on this team been as strong as ever?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, we've been hanging out. I mean, we practice every day with each other, but you know, on the weekends we're hanging with each other, and we're really cool with everyone's really cool with each other. So.
Due to the COVID last season, the Shack Center was only at half capacity for the entire season, and that definitely had to make things a little less interesting for players. But now it's back at full capacity this season. Is the team excited to have a full capacity?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even last year, it was still pretty loud and we weren't full. But you know, being able to see all the fans come out during the games will be really exciting to see us like a lot more people there. So we're excited.
So like you said, this previous Monday, this Monday, you guys had a game against Minot State, and you did pretty good. You know, you were one of the guys, had one of the top minutes. You had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 steal. You know, how did that game feel for you? You know, coming back and being in the energy of the Shield Center. You know, how did that game feel for you?
Oh, it felt amazing just to be on the floor. You know, after we've been working out and practicing for months now, and it feels good to finally be able to show what we can do on the floor. And it's exciting.
All right, man. Thank you for coming on the show. Be sure to tune in to their next game next Tuesday against Concordia Moorhead at 7 at home. Be sure to attend that game at the Shield Center. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have several sports to cover. Stay tuned.
Founded in 1985, the Missouri Valley Football Conference has established a tradition of FCS football excellence. Competing at the highest level of NCAA Division I, student athletes at its 10 institutions demonstrate character, passion, and integrity as they grow as a student, an athlete, and a citizen. The Missouri Valley Football Conference, where leaders are shaped and champions are forged.
No kid deserves to go hungry, but try as they might, not every family can afford to put food on the table every day. That's why the Great Plains Food Bank and their partner agencies work every day to bring food to our hungry neighbors. Every dollar donated can provide 4 meals for those in need. Go to greatplainsfoodbank.org and donate today so no kid in North Dakota ever has to go hungry.
Welcome back. We have 3 sports to cover, so you don't want to go away. Starting with soccer, last Friday they played Western Illinois, but unfortunately lost 4-1. We knew that game was going to be tough. You know, at least we got 1 goal. We were actually the first to score the goal. You know, was made by Olivia Watson and assisted by Dammy Stuber. You know, we had a total of 19 shots on goal to their 19.
It's just unfortunate, though. You know, it's the 5th straight game now where the defense has given up at least 3 goals. And, you know, you can't win a game like that if your defense is giving up 3, 4, 5 goals. I don't care how good your offense is. You're not going to keep up with that consistently. And, I mean, granted, our scoring has not been off the charts this year either, so it's really not going to help anyway.
Yep, and then they came back on Sunday to play St. Thomas and won 1-0 in double overtime. You know, we had a total of 9 shots on goal to their 16. I'm surprised they didn't score because they had way more shots, and we had a total of 16 saves. You know, for Allie Cole, she closes her Bison career with 4th overall clean sheet. You know, her 15 saves broke her previous record, how many goals she's saved, with 8 early in the season.
For how rough the season was, it was great to see the season end like that. You know, a hard-earned victory against St. Thomas there, you know, like you said with Cole. Great way to end her career with 16 saves in the game. And the fact that we were just able to come off of the season with the victory, you know, that's just very good heading into next year.
Yep, they ended their season with an overall record of 3-12-1 and 3-6 in the Summer League Conference. So it wasn't a much difference from last season. You know, they didn't do so good.
Yeah.
In 2018, that was one of their best years. You know, they were 6-2 in the conference, and then after that, it just went downhill. Maybe something needs to change in the coaching staff. We don't know.
It could possibly. I mean, we have a lot of players returning next year. We only have a few seniors leaving, including Allie Cole, who, you know, in that last game, she had received Summer League Defensive Player of the Week honors and had the third most saves in a game in Bison history. So that's going to be a tough loss. But, you know, I feel like this team should be better back next year in terms of talent because we have a lot of players returning.
So do you think if, you know, our record doesn't improve next year, you think the coach is bye-bye?
Might have to be a coaching change. I mean, you know, you have those same players coming back. So if the results don't change, yeah, it might have to be that.
Alrighty, switching gears to volleyball. This previous Saturday, they faced Western Illinois and won 3-1. You know, the first set they won at 25-20. The second set, 25-19. Third, 25-22. And they also won the fourth set, 25-14. What were some individual stats of that game?
Yeah, the kill stats are off the charts for this game. Sierra Tangent had the most with 20. Allie Hinsey had the second most with 19. And then Michelle Glover had the third most with 10. So, yeah, I mean, kill stats were off the charts for this game.
Yep. And then on Thursday, they played Omaha but got swept 3-0.
Yeah, you know how I had mentioned the kill stats were off the chart for the Western Illinois game?
Yep.
There were no charts for this game, unfortunately. The most kills for any of our players in this series, Sierra Tantrum with 5. And then Allie Hinsey and Alexis Bowling had the second most with 3. And, you know, and we had no set where we scored more than 16 points. That is a recipe for disaster right there.
Yeah, man. In the first set, they led 25-16. Second set, 25-12. And the third set, 25-10. So we just kept going, you know, downhill in that game. So they are now 11-15 overall and 5-9 in the Summer League Conference. They play Denver tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Denver, Colorado. That's going to be a downhill also because Denver is 20-3 overall and 11-2 in the conference. They've been having a remarkable season. You know, they were second in the preseason coaches poll, you know, but they lost to Omaha twice this season, and Omaha was ranked 3rd. So, you know, the rankings are kind of messed up other than that, but Denver is still going to be a tough team for us.
Yeah, Omaha and Denver are fighting for the Summer League lead right now, and Denver needs this win to keep alive. So they're going to be fighting very hard for this victory. I think Denver's going to win 3-0. It's really going to be tricky for these girls to be able to beat them.
Yeah, we played Denver in early October and got swept 3-0. So it's not looking good for NDSU, you know. Moving to cross country, the men's and women's ran at the Summit League Championship this past Saturday in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The men's team took 3rd place, finishing with 93 points in team standings. You know, South Dakota State took that first spot. I mean, we kind of knew that was going to happen, and St. Thomas took that second spot. You know, all NDSU's top finishers were underclassmen.
Yeah, and then for the women's team finished second only by 1 point, losing to South Dakota State, but that was very close to an impressive upset. And Bison were picked second in the Summer League preseason poll and nearly unseeded the defending champion Jackrabbits. Senior Kelby Anderson was the individual runner-up as well. So a very impressive performance by the girls at cross country for them as well.
Yep. Freshman Mason Kendall was the top finisher for the Bison. He clocked in 25 minutes and 28 seconds and placing 12th place. He was also named Summit League Newcomer Championship as a top finishing freshman. So the men's did pretty good. So
yeah,
far.
Men's and women's both did very impressive this week, and it's got to give you a lot of confidence, you know, heading into next season and possibly into more, you know, future. I mean, we still have future races left this season, but it's got to give you a lot of confidence heading into the future, the fact that these are underclass men and women on these teams.
Yep, and then sophomore Jake Arison took 14th place overall, finishing with 25 minutes and 31 seconds. You know, both Kendall and Arison earned second team All-Summit League honors. And their next tournament is for the NCAA Midwest Regional in Iowa. Both teams will be competing in that. You know, for the men's, I think it's going to be pretty good. For the women's, I think it's also going to be pretty good. They were shy of 1 point in the Summit League, so I think it'll be a pretty good race next Friday.
Yep, I mean, we'll have to see.
Yep, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Bison Overtime. Make sure you tune back in next Friday at 11:30. Go Bison.